Howdy y'all, glad y'all are back, hopefully doing well. Quick note before we start this thing off. This is not really going to be a tutorial on how to make a pitch Bible, but I'm just going to show you how I would go about making one. And I will be making one, and I'll show you how to, I guess not show you, but I'm going to show you how I would approach it using the knowledge that I have. So with that said, I want to be a showrunner, and I've created a pitch Bible. Well, I've actually created 2 pitch Bibles when I was in college. I took one for a class called Writing for Animation, and then in my senior class called Production Studio 1, I made another pitch Bible for my short animated series. Well, it wasn't really a series, but... And let me tell y'all, even though I have some experience, it's been a long while, and I kind of forgot a lot on how to make them and, what I should be including, what kind of information, and sorry to my professors if you're watching, if you happen to be watching, I kind of forgot all that knowledge, but I can get it back. I just got to jog my memory. There's also a ton of resources out there that are really helpful, and I'm pretty sure that I can reverse engineer a lot of these shows and figure out how they came up with their pitch Bibles and stuff, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Alright, so before I get started, let me show you guys the pitch Bibles that I made when I was in college. This is the first one, and I'm also going to censor a lot of the notes, like on the characters and the story, because I'm actually working on revamping this one. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be revamping the story. And, yeah, I don't want you guys to steal my idea. So I'm just going to censor the information. You guys get to look at the art though. It's the characters that I've been drawing for quite some time. Kind of changing them up a little bit though, but yeah, I think this was pretty alright. And it's very interesting to see how my style changed. And like, yeah, it's just so fascinating. I drew my characters like super thin and like they look very stiff. The poses are kind of whack. You can kind of tell a little bit about the characters by their pose, but I don't know. It's just very different from the art style that I'm used to, which I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing to see my improvement. Super cool. When I was creating this pitch Bible, I was actually kind of going off of Pendleton Ward's pitch Bible for Adventure Time, so that's kind of where I got the inspiration and kind of a little bit of the layout for like this one. It was his pitch Bible for Adventure Time and Bravest Warrior. They're very similar, and I kind of referenced those, and I think they came out all right. My classmates said that they were pretty cool, they're all right, whatever. It's pretty cool. Although they did some crazy immaculate stuff, and like I wish I could show you guys examples, but I don't feel like that's in my department to be sharing, nor do I want to ask and be like, hey, can I randomly just, pop into your life again and ask for your pitch Bible? Like, it's just kind of weird, you know what I mean? But, they filled up the whole page with artwork and, like, art borders, and, like, everything was colored in. They were super artsy and stuff, and, like, it was super cool. And it made mine look a little out of the ordinary. It felt kind of lacking, and maybe for school it was, but I'm gonna get into that a little later. But yeah, this was my first pitch Bible, and when I turned it in, one of my professors, not my classmates, but one of my professors gave me some notes, and one of the things he basically kind of mentioned was that the layout could have been worked on a bit more. And I think in comparison, like I was saying, to all the other students, yeah, sure, it could have been like it was very plain, it's very blank. I could have done a lot more with it. And one of the huge things that he mentioned was the story, mainly because I actually don't know how I want my story to end, or at least I didn't at the time. Now I kind of am still a bit ambiguous on how I want my story to end, but at the very least, I have some ideas that I didn't have before, and so I'm kind of just trying those out and seeing what fits best. He also did mention something about my story, which was that, and it's strange because I do this a lot, I think even when I tell stories to my friends and stuff, and like, one of the things that he mentioned was that I have to imagine that, like, not even imagine, I just have to remember that people looking at this for the first time don't really know all the lore, don't know the characters, and they haven't sat with this story as long as I have. So they're very unfamiliar with it. And I guess, I mean, typically us as humans, we do this where, once we build up a rapport with someone, we kind of start omitting details because we expect it. Basically what my pitch Bible was giving off was the vibe of, when someone comes up to you and they're like, hey, you know what Alex told me the other day? And then you're just like, who's Alex? Or something like that, right? But like, let's say you've talked about this person Alex before. You've just been like, man, there's this guy at work. His name is Alex. He does this, this, and this. We're coworkers. We do this. And then next time you see that person, assuming they remember, you're just like, yeah, my coworker Alex did this, this, and this today. And it's like, but the way I wrote my story was like, yeah, so they kind of, this character did this, this, and that, and they do this because of this. But, the audience generally really wouldn't even know any of it. They don't even know the character's name. They don't know who they are, what they've done, what their past is. They haven't sat with it as long as I have, just like my professor made it clear to me. So that's one of the weaker points of my pitch Bible. Okay, critique for this one, over. Now, here's another one that I made for my senior short, which was, I believe, like 2 years after I made that other one. And, by the way, if you guys want to see my senior short, y'all feel free to click in the top right, go check it out, or I'll have it linked down in the description below. And for this short film, it does kind of connect with my other story, but it takes place in a different time, and it's like a semi-canon, not canon event kind of situation. So I don't mind sharing the details and showing you guys like what my student short was about. I feel like that's okay. And also feel free to reference it. Don't steal my ideas. But, feel free to reference this. And, like, if you want to see what, like, maybe, like, a student pitch Bible might look like. Even though I'm about to show you, like, super professional ones. But, just if you're interested. Now, I did kind of follow a similar layout to my first one. However, one thing that you'll notice that is different is that there isn't an episode list. You typically put those at the end. Give, like, a list of episodes of, like, encounters or like little bits and stuff of what your characters will go through together in the story. And I didn't include that because there wasn't supposed to be anything after this. It was like, it's part of a series, but I wasn't going to make a series out of it at the time, so that's why there's no episode list at the end. And now we ask the big question. For those of you who are completely brand new, why do we have these pitch Bibles in the first place? Now, the main reason is because eventually, hopefully someday, if you're in animation school, this might be your dream, it might not, but you use pitch Bibles to, pitch them to an animation studio. And if it woos the executives enough, and if the time is right, and if they are really interested in your story, and they just don't want to keep it in development forever, locked in a drawer somewhere, packed away forever, where they will have all the creative freedom and rights to it, they will turn it into a show and broadcast it. And why do you need to pitch it to networks or super high up executives? Well, that's because, have you ever tried making an animation by yourself? Because it's hard. It's super hard. It's very, very difficult. These huge corporations, networks, and, gobbledygooks of, creative collectives, they all have the resources needed to create an animation show. An animated show. Sorry, I don't know why I said it like that. They can hire artists for every position. They can pay all of your workers and your team. They have reach. They have capabilities to stream your content on their platforms. The list goes on. There's a bunch of pluses and negatives, but of course, there is a reason why people do this. And of course, one of the main reasons, as I've said in a couple of my other videos, I want to be a showrunner. I want to tell stories, animated stories at that. And now that's also not entirely the only reason to make a pitch Bible. It is, it is the main reason, but it's not the only. Another reason is that if you do have your show greenlit, or let's just say you want to start your own comic series, you want to start your own, creative narrative endeavor or idea, it's best to have it all organized and compiled in a book that you assembled yourself, so that at any time when you're creating content for your creative endeavor, if you get lost, or if you forget something, or if you don't know what to do, you can just refer to your pitch Bible and it will give you all the answers you need. Because we all have this information stored in our heads, but sometimes you gotta free up that space and you forget stuff, and sometimes you may forget what your character's motivation is, or you stray away from it. Or maybe you forget their purpose or why you introduced them in the story in the first place. Maybe you forget some of the central themes of what your story are. And this pitch Bible is the place that you can come back to remind yourself and kind of stick to what the original idea was, assuming you don't want to change your original idea, which happens. So, back to the now times. Today, what are we doing here today? Well, I want to make a pitch Bible and possibly pitch it, or at the very least, use it so that I can start developing some webtoons or some comics if the idea gets shot down if I pitch it. Now, I was able to find some pitch Bibles from some of my favorite animated shows, and I'm actually so thankful that these resources are out there because I think they helped me learn a lot, and hopefully you guys may gain something from this too. Okay, so let's start off with Batman the Animated Series. Some things that I'm going to be going over and some things that I'm going to keep in mind for my approach to creating a pitch Bible is looking at basically the style and layout comparatively to each pitch Bible to see like who's doing what and how they're doing it. I'm going to pay attention to the length, basically how long each pitch Bible is, how many pages. I'm going to look at the structure of where things and topics are placed, like where our characters placed, where's the synopsis or the log line, where's all of that stuff placed, and then we're going to take a look at the artwork. I want to see how good my artwork has to be for me to get a greenlit show. And by the way, all of these pitch Bibles that I have here were greenlit shows. So all of these pitch Bibles have one thing in common, and that's that they got the eyes of executives on them in order for them to produce a show. Did that make sense? I don't know if it made sense, but you know what I mean, right? All of these are successful pitch Bibles. I would have liked to include student examples that I found maybe like on Pinterest or like ArtStation and stuff, but again, I think it's more important that we analyze successful pitch Bibles. So that's why I have the ones picked out here today. But let's see how they've changed, because when I was in college, 153 pages is way too much. Now, granted, I understand that this is a series writer's Bible, not a pitch Bible, but it's essentially a very similar thing. So if we go through it, you'll see that we have some kind of like, I don't know what to call it, splash art. Not really splash art, but you know, we have the introduction to Gotham, which is pretty standard of most of these Bibles. You're going to see that the introduction to the world is in the beginning. We have the main character, Batman, writing style and structure, 3-act structure. Can I use my arrow keys? Cool. Humor. And of course, like I said, this is like a, you know, it's a writing guide, but at the same time, the structure is very, very similar to a more animated and artsy, I guess not writer's guide. So again, we have a couple pictures just dedicated to full on character art, which is cool. It's cool. We have, you know, supporting characters, more full page artwork. We have Alfred and then him sitting here. It's neat. It's pretty neat to see all of this, but again, like I mentioned, the length is already super crazy. It's a lot. I could never, as an executive, seeing this nowadays, from what I've heard in the animation industry, they're just going through Bibles and Bibles and pitches and listening all day and stuff, and like, I don't think anybody would take the time to look through all of this personally. I don't think I would. The art, it doesn't really catch. Okay, hold up. I am a huge fan of Bruce Timm. I have a Bruce Timm art book, for gosh sakes. I like this. I like this man's art. I love Batman the Animated Series. I have a bunch of comics. But the art, if I were an exec nowadays, I don't think this art is really eye-catching. It's don't get me wrong, it's really nice to look at. These drawings of Robin, Bruce Wayne, Batman, they're sick. They're cool. But it just feels hard to sell, if that makes any sense at all. So now let's take a look at another series Bible that I found. This one is the Ed, Ed, and Eddy Pitch Bible. So here is the front cover. I also really like looking at the front covers of these because I really want to do a really epic front cover. But that aside, I noticed that it's very, very similar to the Batman one. It's black and white. They use this very interesting like typewriter text, I guess I would call it. So right off the bat, the structure, we of course have like the log line. We have like basically the show description, what it's going to be. There's really no artwork here, unfortunately. Next, we get to the character description, which is kind of cool. It's kind of strange that they put Ed first, because, you know, in the other Bible, they had Batman first, but so it kind of like, I don't know. It's just funny that they have Ed first, but they have Ed. I guess he is technically the first one, like when you say Ed, Ed, and Eddy. Anyways, got some expressions here. We got Double D. Then we got Eddy, more expressions, the neighborhood kids. Very brief descriptions, you know, of the neighborhood kids. We have the Canker sisters. Again, very short descriptions. We have some full page artwork. Again, it's pretty neat. It's pretty cool. It's all in black and white, and there's nothing wrong with that, but, you know, it is very... I guess when you're pitching to, like, a kid's show, I can see this a lot more. It looks like there's a lot more fluidity. You can kind of see by the exaggerated poses, you know, like they're very expressive. There's a whole lot of movement and stuff. So I feel like they can get away with the black and white because it is very like, it's not like a stiff Batman just standing over the city or something. I don't know. I think the artwork does work. The structure of where things are placed sounds about right. It looks about right. It is, maybe I just missed it. It doesn't look like there's any episode list, but maybe that wasn't required. Maybe it just kind of looks like, you know, it looks like maybe possibly it was already in development, so they really didn't need to do that. But it is a very interesting kind of pitch Bible. Super cool though. It's super cool to see this. The structure, like I said, super interesting, very neat, but again, I also feel like it's just kind of a bit too long. And one thing that is kind of debatable that I learned in college is that, you know, having like full pages of art, it's nice. It's cool to show off your artistic capabilities. But at the end of the day, your art kind of doesn't. It matters. But at the same time, it kind of doesn't, because those creative liberties are going to kind of be a little stripped from you. And you're going to have to learn how to adapt, and your character or characters are going to change once you start introducing other like character designers and artists on your team and stuff. So like, I kind of understand why, you know, you shouldn't really go super ham on the art, but you know, that can be up for debate, because again, this is a successful pitch Bible. The art should be up to snuff, like at least at this level, I guess you can say. And yeah, moving on, we're going to start looking at a more newer pitch Bible. Okay, here we have Star and the Forces of Evil, which, as you all know, became a really pretty neato Disney show, Star versus the Forces of Evil. But this is the pitch Bible, and super cool. I found it on Reddit, of all places. But yeah, so let's take a look. So this is the front cover. Very interesting of a front cover. It's very interesting. That's just the best way I can describe it. It's a little strange because I don't really know what's going on. I mean, obviously, right? There's Star. She's in front of like a huge monster truck in like some decrepit lands. And that's cool, but it just doesn't really feel indicative of the show. It doesn't really feature any other characters. Kind of strange. But again, let's all keep in mind, this got greenlit. Okay, so we start off, we have a log line basically describing the universe that we're in, or like, I guess a log line in short, just it's 1 to 2 sentences at most of what the story is, who the character is, and what they're going to be doing, or what their goal is that they're going to accomplish throughout the show. It's weird saying that you have to try and encompass all of that in 1 to 2 sentences, but that's a thing. I've taken 3 lessons about writing log lines, and I feel as if I was never any good at them, but they are essential to your pitch Bible. And like like the other 2 that we saw, it's at the beginning. Next, we have the story synopsis. Again, basically kind of just a little more in-depth of the story. You know, it's basically a longer log line, to my understanding at least. We got the Forces of Evil. It's very interesting to see that we have a lot more different than the other ones that we've seen. These are colored pages. They're colored in, except for this one. Very interesting. We have a bit more of the introduction of, like, the story, per se. We're not really getting into characters yet from what I can see. We have a backstory page, more star designs, and the backstory of Earth. And you know what? I am going to say it's very nice to have all of this. And actually, it's very interesting because in the other pitch Bibles, we kind of just get straight into the characters after, like, the story synopsis. And for this one, we actually kind of had to go a couple pages down until we get to Star. I think, is the next one Marco? Actually, no. So Star gets a couple of pages. Oh my god. To be honest, I really didn't take too much of a look beforehand because I kind of wanted to be surprised when I recorded this too. But oh my god, his name isn't Marco, it's Sol Santiago Huion. Oh my god, that's actually insane. Yeah, super crazy that we have to go this far just to get to these character pages. We have a how it works there. I do know from school that one of the things we've talked about in class is that when you introduce magic, you kind of have to explain it because, you know, magic is different in every series, obviously, so be sure you explain how that works. And then we have the theme. The theme is very interesting because in some pitch Bibles, they include it, in some they don't. I feel like it's one of those things where, like, you can or can't have it. It's just kind of one of those things. I feel like it's an optional, but also kind of good thing to have. So the structure's pretty cool. Honestly, the artwork, it's not too bad. It's all right. It's pretty good artwork. It's very colorful, very vibrant, very energetic, very expressive. The one thing that I think could be very problematic about this pitch Bible is the length. Because I did notice, though, that this isn't the only... This is like, what? I don't even know how many pages this is, to be honest. But there's a part 2 to the pitch Bible. And also... I actually don't remember where I saw it, actually, but I actually can't find it. But I could have sworn that I saw a part 3. And I don't know how many pages that is, but it feels like a lot of pages. I remember in college, the 2 classes that I had to make pitch Bibles for, one of the things that they mentioned is that nowadays, and again, because we have to keep in mind, Star versus the Forces of Evil got greenlit. So I guess the amount of pages really didn't matter too much because, you know, again, it was successful. But at the same time, it has been made known to me and our class that you maybe shouldn't add, there shouldn't be like a bajillion pages. I think they said maybe like 15 to 20. At most, these pitch Bibles kind of go against the norm, but, you know, at most, you don't want more than that typically because the execs or the people that are going to be listening to your pitch are not really... I get the vibe that it's very fast-paced. Now, if it's for your own personal enjoyment, do however many pages and full spreads of art you want. That's completely fine, but I think if you're planning to pitch it, cut down on the amount of pages you include because they don't want to be flipping through a gigantic stack of papers. And that's where I think this one kind of falls short a little bit. But again, this was a successful show. Moving on, we're going to go to the pitch Bible that I kind of referenced pretty... maybe not heavily, but kind of a lot. The Adventure Time pitch Bible. Adventure Time created by Pendleton Ward. So here's the thing. So we got basically the log line, basically a synopsis, I guess you can say, you can call it. Can I full screen this? Okay, that's a little better. I'll take it. Full page artwork of Finn and Jake. Next, after, you know, the synopsis, we have, or the log line, whatever you want to call it. We have Finn the human. We have his character sheet, a little bit of like dialogue and description of how he's not muscly and like kind of like what his character or who his character is. Simple little goofball. Very fun art. Super cool. More stuff of him and Jake. Again, more about Finn's character. And now we have Jake the dog. And it looks like Pendleton Ward spent quite a bit on the characters, on the character pages, just to be very in-depth on who they are, which is cool. We get a page for PB. We get a page for Marcy. That's pretty rad. Cool pose. Actually, I really dig that. That's really cool. Love the photo bashing. Dang, her name was Betty? What the heck? I kind of forget that. The Ice King. So as you can see, and then we have the antagonist. We have a map. That's kind of cool. I included a map in mine because I feel like knowing a lot about the land is pretty cool. Some concept art. I feel like it's neat. It's neat to throw in, but I don't think concept art is really needed for all of this. Finn and Jake's home, I feel like, is maybe a little needed. That's kind of cool. And then now we have an episode list. Basically kind of telling, like, the viewer what they can expect, or I guess the execs what they can expect from the average episode of Adventure Time. And we got we got Pendleton Ward at the bottom, surrounded by his characters. Super cool. So the layout is very comparable to the past pitch Bibles that we've seen. They got a synopsis, they've got the characters, and then we got a little more of the land. He went very in-depth on the characters, a lot more in-depth than I've done with my characters. Maybe that's something I should look into, maybe it's not. The pitch Bible does feel a bit long. We're sitting at about 38 pages. Oh wait, is there more? Oh, fan art. Okay, no, it does feel a bit long, so there is that. I feel like some of these pages could have been cut out, I think, especially like the concept art. It's pretty neat. I understand why he included it, but from what I've been taught, I feel like it could be cut out. And one thing that I thought is very interesting, this is by no means any diss to Pendleton Ward. Fantastic guy, fantastic show. But if you guys look at the art, it's very, very simple. Very simple. We got some photo bashing elements in here. It's very silly. And it's also very not like on model, I guess you can say. Or you can see like maybe like this, for example, right? It's very, I don't know what to call it per se, and I don't want to sound rude or mean either, but you guys know what I mean, right? The artwork is just very simple, and it also kind of, I'm kind of saying this as well as to, to tell you guys that, you don't, gosh, this is so hard to say without sounding like a meanie. But, okay, I'll just spit it out. You don't have to be super artistically inclined to be able to create a pitch Bible. Again, this is just to get like an idea. You're going to be working with assuming you get greenlit, you're going to be working with a ton of other artists. You're going to be working with a ton of other people who are going to handle the art for you. You're not going to be in there drawing every single frame. And again, it's just supposed to give your audience, or at the very least, the executives, an idea of what the characters look like and what you can expect, how you can expect them to move. And like I said, while the artwork is maybe not super rendered and maybe not as detailed as some of the other Bibles that we've seen, again, and I'm going to say this after each pitch Bible, this was a successful one. Your art can be at this level. Your pitch Bible can be at this level, your structure and length could be at this level, and there is a chance of it getting greenlit. Maybe this was also a long time ago. I don't see a date or anywhere when, so maybe times have changed. But again, this is another example of a successful pitch Bible. Moving on, I'm going to show you guys, here's another example of another successful pitch Bible by Pendleton Ward, which is pretty cool. This is for his show Bravest Warriors. Okay. Sorry, I had to go get a drink of water and feed a cat. Bravest Warriors by Pendleton Ward. So again, I do like the cover art. The cover art is pretty cool, pretty vibrant. I think so far my favorite. The Bravest Warriors hideout. So we start off with a little comic book intro. Very interesting. More comic. I'm kind of, skimming through it a little bit, but I guess it's kind of a funner way to introduce like the story synopsis. Oh, actually, here we go. It looks like there's another it looks like there's another, introduction to the series or the book. Actually, maybe, you know what, this might have been for a comic, and then this is maybe the beginning of the Bible. Who knows? I don't really know. This ad. Get out of here. Okay, so Bravest Warriors. That's pretty cool. 4 16-year-old heroes for hire, warping around galaxies, saving cute alien worlds with their emotions. Very simple. There you go. Another log line. Okay, so we got very nice first page. Log line on the first page. Very interesting. Assuming this is the first page. The Bravest Warriors Pledge. Okay, that's also kind of neat. And then we go straight into characters. So that's cool. So we have characters, Chris Kirkman. Very nice. You have the description up here. You have like a little bit of a thing right here for them. That's cool. And then we have some art. Beth Tezuka. Very interesting layout for the text. For those who don't know, I used to be a I actually still am technically a graphic designer. That's my current job. I work as a graphic designer. And I went to school for it for 3 years. I didn't like it, but I did learn a lot, and it's just very interesting to see the layout, the type layout for this. It's so interesting. It's crazy. And I like the little quote right here for Beth. We have basically of their situation. This is something that we're going to see in some of the other pitch Bibles, but yeah, very interesting to see. Ooh, then we have Danny Vasquez. Very cool art, very interesting, very nice. And then we have his description. Wallow, very interesting. Alternate. I like how it's like kind of like a full art kind of scene, and then for Beth, you just have her here in the corner. Same thing. Chris had like a full art, just like Danny. And then Wallow, this guy, he's just kind of here in the corner. Very weird parallel. The Emotion Lords. One day Chris Kirkman will achieve his secret identity. That's very interesting. That's very cool. Very cool. Very cool image. Annie Pie. So we're still on characters. Pixel. It's cool. The Blower Empire. Prillets. What is this? Alien races. And that's cool. I think something like this, like you don't even have to have the idea of what they look like for the Empire, maybe, or like these other ones, Brain Dogs, whatever. I think just even small descriptions, just to know that they're going to be a big component, enough so that they even get their own page or names on the page, you know, like they're going to be so important that they have a little paragraph here, even if you don't have them figured out. That's very important. The Invisible Hideout. Okay. Very Adventure Time-esque, but very cool to include a hideout. And then we have the episode list, again, to see, you know, what it's going to be like, what kind of adventures they're going to be going on. What I've noticed I've done this in my Bible, and I've seen in some of the other Bibles, is that episode 1, very detailed. You get a whole lot of content for episode 1. Episode 2, a little more. Episode 3 and 4, they just get like paragraphs. This one, not even a full paragraph. I mean, I guess it's a full paragraph, but you know what I mean. It's short. They get a whole lot shorter. So this one, for this pitch Bible, I gotta say, I like the layout. I think it's very clean. It's very simple. It was a little confusing in the front because I didn't know if that was for the series or not, but like with the whole comic and everything. But you know what? It's nice to add. Maybe it's nice to add in there, throw in there. Whether it should be at the beginning or the end, I really don't know. Because again, this was a successful pitch Bible. This actually did turn into a show for a little bit. I actually didn't know how long it ran. I don't think it's as popular or even as... I don't know. I don't even know if it ran for as long as Adventure Time. Probably not. I don't even know if it's still going. But again, it did get made into a show, and that is the ultimate goal. So the layout, pretty cool. I actually really like the layout. I like how it just goes into the characters and everything. That's pretty neat. The length. So if we exclude the beginning comic, it's about 15 pages long. A very, very drastic change from the 38-page Adventure Time pitch Bible. Very drastic change. It's almost half. I think a little more than half. Or less than half. I don't know. You know what I mean, though. 15 pages as opposed to 38. And you still get the whole entire vibe of the story. Super cool. I like that. And lastly, the artwork. The artwork, super cool. I do like that it's full color. I think they're also... They're not like super cleaned up or crisp or clean or anything. Well, actually, I take that back. They are pretty clean. They're very, very cool and stuff. And like, honestly, it's really good. It's actually just really good. I like the art style. And I think when I start moving forward with my pitch Bible, I think I'm going to kind of reference this one just a little bit because it's pretty cool, pretty neat. Moving on, actually, before we get to this last one, let me show you another one that I found. So actually, prepping when I was prepping for this video, I did come across the Gravity Falls pitch Bible, which is freaking crazy. Because I feel like I've looked for it before and couldn't find it, and now I found it, so it's super cool. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen Gravity Falls. Super fantastic show. I guess it's more of a short series. I think it's only maybe like 14 episodes-ish, something around there. I don't really remember, but it's very short, but very, very cool show. Created by Alex Hirsch. It aired on Disney, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, this is the pitch Bible. So right off the bat, we get a logline and a synopsis. But very interesting. Notice how there's no like cover page. It just kind of, I mean, unless this is an incomplete version that I downloaded, but it didn't seem like it. So it's just very strange that we get this right off the bat. But again, you know, are execs really gonna matter? Are they gonna care? I feel like this is just giving them. You're just meeting them where they're at. You're giving them what they want. So, oh, actually, and more important, we have the genre. I feel like genre is something that we really haven't seen in the other ones. That's, you know, kind of very important information to have. So that's kind of cool. Comedy mystery. In a nutshell, so again, this is kind of like a bigger log line and synopsis. And then we go straight into characters. So we have Dipper. That's pretty cool. And you know what? I kind of like this style right off the bat. It's very interesting, and I'm going to talk about it when we get to the next one. I think as a graphic designer, this is kind of doing it for me. I like how we have a colored image of Dipper, and then we have this other one of him in a scene. It's pretty cool. Okay, and we have another one, and we have just kind of like some traits. That's kind of cool. Mabel. Again, love that there's a colored character picture for Mabel and Dipper, and then they have all these other ones. Super cool. Yeah, and see, like, they don't even have to be, like, super... Like, these are just, like, sketches or, like, ideas of what she'd be doing. I am all for that. That's super cool. Grunkle Stat! Jesus, if you've seen the show, you know that they did not go with this character design, and that's hilarious to see that he used to look like this. Disregarding that, though, very cool that we have text wrap around. This is kind of cool. And then, of course, we get a sketch of him. All right, now we have the Mystery Shack. Very interesting. Descriptions of the world. Very cool. I like how in some of the other ones we saw like a map of the world. I don't think it's needed, but, you know, it's nice to see visually. But again, this is doing just fine. Okay, and we got the coworkers, and very, very interesting. Notice how they're not in full color. They're in black and white. They also seem to be like from a sketchbook, but you know, it's cool. Antagonists. This is very interesting because we haven't seen in the other pitch Bibles. Maybe the Batman one. I didn't really get to like the Joker or like any of the villains or something, so maybe in that one it was too long. But very interesting that there's a section for the antagonist. That's something I want to keep in mind for mine. Lil Gideon, Manly Dan, Corduroy. All right, then we get into these guys and some sample episodes. Very neat. Very short too, but very... I feel like they're very on the nose of what the episode should be, and that's fine. It's nothing bad. Oh, what is this? Oh no, that's where it ends, dude. No way. Okay, so it looks like we do get a little map of what Gravity Falls would kind of look like, what the world is. But I do like that we get a sense of style. We kind of know who the characters are. So yeah, so I like the layout. I like the layout a lot. Super cool. The length is only what? How many pages this is? I just counted. It's about 15, 16 pages. Very similar to Bravest Warriors in terms of length. I like the art. The art's cool. And again, it doesn't need to be anything super fantastical and fancy, because again, this is a successful pitch Bible. So yeah, I like the structure. The structure kind of lines up with everything we've been seeing so far, where the characters are, how far into the Bible they are and stuff. They're near the beginning. Layout similar. I like it. Length, perfect. Artwork, super cool. One thing I will say though, and I do remember hearing this from an interview with Alex Hirsch, and it's that he doesn't really I'm gonna kind of misremember this a little bit, but I do remember he wasn't very art focused. He liked being in the writer's room a lot more, if I remember correctly. I believe he even gives like a talk about this at Pixelotl. I think that's what it's called. It's like an animation thing in Mexico, more or less. And he discusses how he really wasn't too artistic and he wasn't very confident about his drawings, but he makes up for that in writing. And that's very apparent in all of these. Like, these are very writing heavy compared to some of the other ones we've seen, which is completely fine because, again, this was successful. So don't think if your pitch Bible has a ton of writing, of course you want to have the most important information out there. You don't want the execs or whoever you're pitching to go through all of that. But again, keep in mind this is still acceptable. All right. All right. Last but not least, here is a pitch Bible made by Dana Terrace. It's called Snaggle Teeth. Now, Dana Terrace is the creator of the Owl House, and as she has mentioned in the video where these screenshots are taken from, as she's kind of mentioned in the video, she pitched this show alongside the Owl House. I believe she pitched this one to Cartoon Network and the Owl House to Disney, and they both got greenlit. So keep in mind, she knows what she's doing. She basically got 2 shows greenlit. Now, obviously, she went on to go produce the Owl House because I think she was more passionate about that show. But again, this was also a success. Keep that in mind. So right off the bat, I love that. I like the simplicity of the cover art. I like the simplicity of the cover art, and it has the synopsis at the bottom, from what I'm assuming, and like the log line. So super cool. I already dig that a lot, and it's in color. Next, and it's very interesting because Dana Terrace and Alex Hirsch, I believe, I don't want to get into any crazy drama or anything, but they used to date. And before that, I believe they also worked together on Gravity Falls. I believe Dana Terrace was a storyboard artist. I could be a little hazy on the details. I probably am, but she was working on Gravity Falls while Alex Hirsch was showrunning. And it's very interesting because their pitch Bibles are very, very similar just by looking at them. Kind of similar to Alex Hirsch, the Gravity Falls one. A character, colored full color on top, and then you have the words kind of text wrapped around them, and then one of them in gray. But very, very neat. I love this so much. So automatically right after that, we go into the characters as per, what we've been seeing. We go into other characters, and there's a couple pages dedicated to them. And then we have a central theme, something that we saw in one of the other pitch Bibles, and something that I think is very important, which is the theme. I love that picture of this guy, of the shark. It's so cute. It's so sad and so cute. I love it. But we have a theme that's interesting. We have the world. We have the towns, the woods. Very interesting. And again, I'm not going to click on all of them. I think you guys can see the link up here. Honestly, just Google it, Dana Terrace Pitch Bible. You'll find it. So if I'm not zooming in on all of them, sorry, but just look it up. I'll have all the links in the description below too. I do like that for the towns, she added a map. Super cool. Notable places. That's a very interesting thing to add, like a subcategory to add, I guess you can say. A full page art. Okay, that's cool. I dig it. Gives, an idea of like what the characters are like and stuff, so that's cool. Already, actually, yeah, you can see this character Jesse is all excited, all the kids are doing something, and you have Shark Boy, this nerdy kid, just kind of behaving. It's funny. And then we have an episode list. Super cool. Now, I blew through this one a little bit faster than the others, and it's mainly because I kind of have the same comments that I'm going to make about each one, is that so the layout, I love the layout. I think it's super cool. The structure of where things are placed. One thing that catches my eye, it's very similar to the other ones, yes. I do like that she has them in like these subcategories, like they're characters, right? But you have the core characters, and she has that in red on top. The next category is other characters, central theme, the world, notable places. I don't know. and example episodes. I like that it's broken down into like it just feels more organized, and I feel like organization is something very important when presenting these. I don't know, it just catches my eye a lot more. It just works more for me. I like this a lot. The artwork, fantastic. Honestly, it's super fantastic. I really enjoy it. I have nothing bad or anything to say about it. I like this pitch Bible a lot. I like it a lot, and I think I'm also going to take this one a lot into consideration when I'm constructing my pitch Bible as well. And another reason why I sped through this one pretty fast is because you can actually watch Dana Terrace go through this pitch Bible and explain everything herself in greater detail, or greater detail than myself, on YouTube. Literally just look up Dana Terrace pitch Bible. She gave a talk at Pixelotl 2022. Oh my god, that's loud. Let me mute it. Or I'm going to have it super low because it's on my speaker. But she talks about the whole thing in depth. It's super cool. And again, let me remind you, she is a very successful showrunner. She got this one greenlit and the Owl House greenlit from what I hear simultaneously, possibly. I think she was pitching them at the same time. One to Cartoon Network, the other to Disney. And again, I think she's doing something really right. There's a reason why this clicks so well with me, I think. And I think it clicked well with a bunch of other producers and execs who, you know, greenlit this show. Kind of sad that she didn't develop it or go through with this one. I love the Owl House, by the way, so it's like it's not a total bummer, but, you know. Very cool. Very cool. And yeah, so I'm going to take all the information that I have compiled by looking at all of these pitch Bibles. I'm just going to soak in that information, and then I'm going to get to work. And you best believe I am going to record it and show you guys how I start working on this pitch Bible. But again, super interesting to see how people went about this. And again, you know, these are successful ones, so it's super cool to see their layouts are very similar. The length is... You can see that it gets shorter through time. Maybe... How many pages is this? What? Again, 15 pages long, so that's something that I'm going to keep in mind for my pitch Bible. Keep it around somewhere there, maybe no more than 20 max, I think. But yeah, as far as structure and all that goes and content, like, all the information's out there, guys. You don't have to go to college. Well, I mean, it's definitely something you should think about. I'm going to save this topic for another day, but, you know, you don't have to go to college. Literally just look at all the resources that are out there for us. There's so many resources out there that are free. I found all of these free online, and yeah, I mean, just take a look at it, and I feel like I feel like I have enough knowledge, sure, from college, but I have enough knowledge out here from what I'm seeing to basically reverse engineer and create my own pitch Bible, which I am going to do, and like I said, I'm going to record it. It's going to be cool, so stay tuned. Thank you guys again for coming back and listen to me yap about pitch Bibles. I really appreciate y'all being here. Like, sub, do all the YouTube stuff. I don't even know anymore, but thank you so much. I really appreciate all the support. I hope this helps, and stay tuned, because this is probably going to be a little pitch Bible series that I'm going to start pumping out. I'm really serious about this. I want to be a showrunner. I need all the practice I can get. And yeah, thank you guys again. Talk to you later, homies.